"We gave your college fund to Marcus because boys need education more than girls do," my mother announced casually over breakfast, completely unaware that the Stanford acceptance letter in my backpack contained a full-ride scholarship that would change everything. My name is Isabella Chen, and this is the story of how my parents' betrayal became the catalyst for the most empowering transformation of my life. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The morning of March 15th started like any other Tuesday in the Chen household in suburban Denver, Colorado. I sat at our kitchen table, mechanically eating cereal while scrolling through my phone, trying to process what my mother had just said with the same casual tone she might use to discuss grocery shopping. The Stanford acceptance letter felt like it was burning a hole through my backpack, which rested innocuously by the front door. For 18 years, I had been the model daughter. Straight A student, National Honor Society president, debate team captain, volunteer coordinator at the local animal shelter, and winner of the Colorado State Science Fair for 3 consecutive years. My academic achievements had been the source of family pride at every gathering, with my parents boasting to relatives about their brilliant daughter who would surely attend an elite university and bring honor to the Chen family name. The college fund they had just casually transferred to my younger brother Marcus had been a constant presence in family financial discussions throughout my childhood. Every birthday, every Christmas, every academic achievement had been celebrated, with the promise that this money would ensure my educational future. The fund had grown to approximately $68,000 over the years, accumulated through careful savings, family contributions, and investment growth that my parents had managed with the dedication typically reserved for retirement planning. Marcus, who was 2 years younger and possessed the academic motivation of a particularly lazy houseplant, had never shown interest in higher education beyond the minimum requirements needed to graduate high school. His grades consistently hovered in the C- range, despite having access to the same educational resources and parental support that had enabled my academic success. He spent his afternoons playing video games, his evenings socializing with friends who shared his indifference toward academic achievement, and his weekends working part-time at a local auto repair shop where he had discovered a genuine passion for mechanical work. The irony of the situation was not lost on me. While Marcus had found his calling in automotive repair and expressed genuine enthusiasm about pursuing technical training rather than traditional college education, my parents had decided that his gender made him more deserving of educational investment. Their reasoning reflected cultural attitudes that I had naively assumed we had moved beyond in modern American society. "Boys need to be the providers," my father had explained when I questioned their decision, his tone suggesting that this was an obvious truth that required no further discussion. "Marcus will need to support a family someday. You will get married, and your husband will take care of you." This perspective felt particularly jarring, coming from parents who had immigrated to the United States specifically to provide their children with opportunities that transcended traditional limitations. My parents, David and Linda Chen, had arrived in Denver 25 years earlier with advanced degrees in engineering and ambitious plans for building successful careers in American technology companies. They had worked tirelessly to establish themselves professionally, overcome language barriers, and create the financial stability that enabled them to save for their children's education. Their own educational achievements had been the foundation of their American success story, making their current attitude toward my educational aspirations particularly difficult to understand. The breakfast conversation had unfolded with the surreal quality of a nightmare that you keep expecting to end. My mother had been discussing Marcus's plans to attend Colorado State University to study business administration, a field he had selected primarily because it required minimal mathematics and science coursework that had challenged him throughout high school. The irony was that he had expressed reluctance about attending college at all, preferring to pursue automotive certification programs that would enable him to work in the field that genuinely interested him. We transferred the college fund to Marcus's account yesterday, my mother had continued, buttering her toast with the same methodical precision she applied to all household tasks. He needs to focus on his studies without worrying about finances. You can apply for scholarships or take student loans like other girls do. The casual dismissal of my educational aspirations felt like a physical blow that left me struggling to process the magnitude of what was happening. I had been accepted to Stanford University 3 weeks earlier, with a letter that represented the culmination of years of academic dedication and strategic planning. The acceptance itself had been thrilling enough, but the contents of the letter had exceeded even my most optimistic expectations. Stanford had offered me a full academic scholarship that covered tuition, room, and board, and included a research stipend that would provide additional financial support throughout my undergraduate studies. The scholarship was specifically designated for students who demonstrated exceptional academic achievement combined with leadership potential and commitment to scientific research. My application had highlighted my work developing a water purification system that won the state science fair, my leadership role in establishing a peer tutoring program at our high school, and my research internship at the University of Colorado, where I had contributed to published studies on environmental engineering solutions. The financial value of the Stanford scholarship exceeded $70,000 annually, representing a total package worth approximately $280,000 over 4 years. This amount significantly surpassed the college fund my parents had transferred to Marcus, but more importantly, it represented validation of the academic excellence I had pursued throughout my educational career. I had not yet shared the Stanford acceptance with my family because I wanted to plan the perfect moment for this celebration. The letter had arrived while my parents were traveling for work, and I had decided to wait until we could all be together for a proper family announcement. I had imagined their pride and excitement when they learned that their daughter had achieved admission to one of the world's most prestigious universities with full financial support. The timing of their college fund announcement felt particularly cruel, given that I had been planning to surprise them with news that would have made their financial sacrifice unnecessary. The Stanford scholarship would have enabled them to redirect the college fund toward Marcus's education while supporting my academic pursuits through merit-based aid that reflected years of dedicated effort. Sitting at the breakfast table, processing the casual destruction of my educational plans, I realized that my parents' decision reflected deeper assumptions about gender roles and family priorities that had been invisible to me throughout my childhood. Their pride in my academic achievements had apparently been superficial, representing social status rather than genuine investment in my intellectual development and career potential. The conversation continued around me as my parents discussed practical details of Marcus's college transition with the efficiency they typically applied to family logistics planning. They reviewed dormitory arrangements, class registration procedures, and budget allocations with careful attention to details that would ensure his academic success. The contrast between this thorough planning for Marcus and their casual dismissal of my educational needs highlighted the fundamental inequality in how they viewed their children's potential. Marcus himself remained notably absent from this breakfast discussion, sleeping late as was his typical pattern during school breaks. His lack of enthusiasm for college planning had been a source of mild frustration for my parents, but they interpreted his reluctance as normal teenage behavior rather than indication that their educational investment might be misaligned with his actual interests and career objectives. The most painful aspect of this revelation was not the financial loss, though $68,000 represented a significant setback for any college-bound student. The deeper wound came from understanding that my parents had fundamentally misunderstood both their children's capabilities and aspirations. They were forcing Marcus toward a traditional college path that did not align with his mechanical aptitude and practical intelligence, while denying me opportunities that matched my academic achievements and research interests. I excused myself from the breakfast table with a polite explanation about needing to prepare for school, though my actual intention was to process this emotional devastation in private before attempting to navigate a normal day of classes and social interactions. The Stanford acceptance letter in my backpack felt heavier than usual, weighted with the irony of secret success that my family would apparently not celebrate or support. Walking to school that morning, I found myself questioning fundamental assumptions about family loyalty, parental support, and the relationship between academic achievement and personal value that had shaped my identity throughout my teenage years. The realization that my parents viewed my future through the lens of traditional gender expectations rather than individual merit forced me to reconsider everything I thought I understood about their values and priorities. The school environment provided temporary distraction from family drama as I navigated familiar routines of advanced placement classes, extracurricular responsibilities, and social interactions with classmates who were also managing college application stress and family expectations. However, the breakfast conversation remained present in my thoughts throughout the day, creating an undercurrent of emotional turbulence that affected my concentration and mood. During lunch period, I sat with my closest friends, Sarah Martinez and Jennifer Kim, both of whom were also high-achieving students navigating their own college application processes. Their families had different approaches to educational support, but both had parents who prioritized their daughter's academic success and career development equally with any male siblings. Listening to their casual discussions about college, visits, and scholarship applications highlighted how unusual my family's gender-based resource allocation had become in contemporary American society. I considered sharing my morning's revelation with my friends, but realized that explaining my parents' decision would require discussing cultural attitudes and family dynamics that might be difficult for them to understand. Their well-intentioned sympathy would not change my situation, and their outrage on my behalf might intensify my own anger without providing constructive solutions. The Stanford acceptance letter remained my secret throughout that day as I grappled with the complex emotions surrounding both extraordinary academic success and devastating family betrayal. The letter represented everything I had worked toward throughout my high school career, while my parents' announcement had revealed fundamental disconnection between my achievements and their expectations for my future. Returning home that afternoon, I found Marcus in his typical position on the living room couch, playing video games with the casual contentment of someone whose future had been secured without any particular effort on his part. His lack of awareness about the college fund transfer was evident in his relaxed demeanor and casual greeting when I entered the house. "Hey, Izzy," he said without looking away from his game screen, using the childhood nickname that felt particularly inappropriate given the morning's developments. "Mom said something about college stuff, but I wasn't really paying attention. Did you get into any schools yet?" His question carried the casual curiosity of a sibling who had not been following my application process closely, but maintained general interest in family developments. The innocence in his question highlighted another layer of complexity in the situation. Marcus had not requested the college fund transfer or advocated for gender-based resource allocation within our family. He was simply the beneficiary of parents' decisions that reflected their cultural attitudes rather than his own preferences or capabilities. Directing anger toward him would be misplaced, though his casual acceptance of educational opportunities he had not earned remained frustrating. "I got into Stanford," I said simply, testing his reaction while avoiding mention of the scholarship details that would complicate the conversation further. His response would provide insight into whether he understood the significance of this achievement or shared our parents' assumptions about educational priorities. Marcus paused his game and turned toward me with genuine surprise and enthusiasm that caught me off guard. "Stanford? That's incredible, Izzy. That's like Ivy League level, right? Mom and Dad must be going crazy with excitement." His reaction demonstrated that he understood the prestige associated with Stanford admission and expected our parents to celebrate this achievement appropriately. His enthusiasm and expectation of parental pride highlighted how completely unaware he was of the morning's conversation and the fundamental shift in family educational priorities that had occurred without his knowledge or input. The disconnect between his assumptions about family support and the reality of our parents' decision created an additional layer of complexity in an already difficult situation. "Actually, I haven't told them yet," I replied, observing his reaction while considering whether to explain the college fund situation that would affect both our futures. I wanted to wait for the right moment. This explanation was technically accurate while avoiding the more complicated truth about why the right moment had become significantly more challenging to identify. Marcus nodded with the casual understanding of someone who had never experienced difficulty in gaining parental attention or support for his interests. "They're going to be so proud," he said with certainty that felt both touching and naive given the morning's revelation. "You've always been the smart one in the family. This is huge." His genuine admiration and pride in my achievement made the family resource allocation even more difficult to comprehend. The conversation with Marcus reinforced my growing understanding that our parents' decision reflected their own cultural programming rather than thoughtful analysis of their children's capabilities, interests, or potential contributions to society. They had defaulted to traditional gender assumptions without considering how those assumptions might affect both their daughter's opportunities and their son's authentic interests and talents. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. That evening, I retreated to my bedroom with the Stanford acceptance letter and began researching scholarship opportunities, student loan, options, and alternative financing strategies that might enable me to attend university without family financial support. The research process was both empowering and overwhelming as I discovered the complexity of educational financing for students whose families could contribute but chose not to provide support. The federal application for federal student aid would require my parents' financial information regardless of their willingness to contribute to my education, creating potential complications in securing need-based assistance. Their income level would suggest family capacity to support my education, even though they had chosen to allocate those resources exclusively to Marcus's academic pursuits. Merit-based scholarships represented the most promising avenue for educational financing, and the Stanford Scholarship provided an excellent foundation for covering major expenses. However, additional costs for books, personal expenses, and potential summer programs would require supplemental funding sources that I would need to secure independently. As I researched financial options late into the evening, I began developing a growing sense of determination and self-reliance that felt both frightening and exhilarating. The necessity of securing my own educational financing would require developing capabilities in financial planning, scholarship applications, and resource management that my peers with family support would not need to master. This challenge also created an opportunity to prove my independence and capability in ways that traditional family-supported education might not have required. The process of securing my own educational funding would demonstrate exactly the kind of initiative and problem-solving ability that had earned me admission to Stanford in the first place. The emotional processing of my parents' betrayal would require time and probably professional counseling to fully address, but the immediate practical challenges of educational financing provided a concrete focus for my energy and frustration. Converting disappointment into determination represented the first step in transforming this setback into an opportunity for personal growth and independence. Looking back at this pivotal day, I realized that my parents' announcement marked the beginning of my transformation from a daughter seeking family approval to an independent young woman capable of creating her own opportunities and defining her own success. The Stanford acceptance letter in my drawer represented not just academic achievement, but the key to a future that I would build through my own efforts, rather than family expectations or limitations. The devastating discovery of my parents' priorities had revealed both the depth of their cultural limitations and the strength of my own capabilities. While their decision had initially felt like abandonment, it would ultimately become the catalyst for developing the independence and self-confidence that would serve me throughout my educational and professional career. The story of how I transformed this betrayal into empowerment was just beginning. But that first day of recognition and research had already planted the seeds of the resilience and determination that would carry me forward through the challenges ahead. The following morning brought a clarity that had been absent during the emotional turbulence of the previous day. I awoke before my alarm with a sense of purpose that surprised me, considering the devastating family revelation that had dominated my thoughts throughout a largely sleepless night. The Stanford acceptance letter remained on my desk where I had placed it after hours of researching financial aid options, and its presence served as a tangible reminder that my future remained within my control, despite my parents' misguided decisions. During the quiet pre-dawn hours while my family slept, I had reached a fundamental conclusion about how to proceed. Rather than confronting my parents immediately about their gender-based resource allocation or attempting to change their deeply held cultural attitudes through emotional appeals, I would demonstrate my independence and capability through decisive action. The Stanford Scholarship provided me with leverage and opportunities that my parents did not yet comprehend, and I intended to use those advantages strategically. The decision to maintain secrecy about the Stanford acceptance required careful consideration of both immediate tactics and long-term relationship management. Revealing the scholarship information prematurely might prompt my parents to reconsider their college fund decision, but it would not address the underlying attitudes that had created this situation. More importantly, accepting their support after they had demonstrated such fundamental disregard for my educational value would establish a precedent for future decision-making that could affect my autonomy throughout my adult life. My morning routine proceeded with unusual deliberation as I prepared for what I recognized would be a pivotal day in establishing my independence. The breakfast conversation with my parents maintained the superficial normalcy that had characterized our family interaction since their announcement, though I now participated with the detached observation of someone who understood that these dynamics would soon change dramatically. "Isabella seems unusually quiet this morning," my mother observed, as she prepared Marcus's lunch with the attentive care that had always characterized her approach to his needs. "Are you feeling well, or is something troubling you about school?" Her concern appeared genuine, though I recognized it as the surface-level attention she provided when my behavior deviated from expected patterns rather than deeper interest in my emotional well-being. "I am processing some important decisions about my future," I replied with honesty that avoided specific details about the Stanford situation. "College planning requires careful consideration of multiple factors, and I want to ensure that I make choices that align with my long-term objectives." This response satisfied her curiosity while establishing that I was taking responsibility for my educational planning without requesting family input or support. My father looked up from his newspaper with the mild interest he typically displayed when family conversations touched on topics related to planning and goal setting. "Your mother and I are pleased that you are approaching college decisions thoughtfully," he said with the tone of someone offering approval for behavior that met his expectations. "Community college provides excellent preparation for transfer to four-year universities, and the financial benefits make it a sensible choice for most students." The casual assumption that I would attend community college revealed how completely my parents had dismissed my academic achievements and potential for admission to competitive universities. Their planning for my educational future apparently involved the most economical options available rather than institutions that matched my academic qualifications and research interests. This assumption provided additional confirmation that revealing the Stanford acceptance would not change their fundamental assessment of my capabilities and value. Marcus joined the breakfast conversation with his characteristic late arrival and casual demeanor, seemingly unaware of the undercurrents of tension that had characterized family interactions since the college fund announcement. His presence provided a useful reminder that he remained an innocent party in our parents' decision-making process, though his unconscious acceptance of preferential treatment continued to illustrate the gender dynamics that shaped our family culture. "Izzy, did you figure out which schools you want to apply to?" he asked while assembling his breakfast with the unhurried pace of someone whose educational future had been secured without personal effort. Mom mentioned that application deadlines are coming up soon, and you probably want to get started on that stuff. His question demonstrated both genuine fraternal interest and complete ignorance about the application timeline and my actual progress in the college admission process. I have submitted applications to several universities and am currently evaluating my options, I replied with deliberate vagueness that avoided mentioning the Stanford acceptance while providing accurate information about my situation. The decision-making process involves multiple considerations, including academic programs, research opportunities, and financial planning. This response maintained conversational engagement while protecting the strategic information I intended to reveal at the optimal moment. The school day provided welcome distraction from family dynamics as I focused on maintaining academic performance while developing my independent strategy. During lunch period, I approached Mrs. Patterson, our guidance counselor, to discuss scholarship opportunities and financial aid resources that might supplement the Stanford package. This conversation represented my first step in building a support network outside my family that could provide guidance and advocacy throughout my educational journey. Mrs. Patterson's office had always felt like a sanctuary for students navigating academic and personal challenges, and her response to my inquiry about additional scholarship opportunities demonstrated the kind of supportive engagement that had been notably absent from recent family interactions. When I mentioned my Stanford acceptance and the full scholarship package, her reaction provided the enthusiastic celebration that I had originally expected to share with my family. "Isabella, this is absolutely extraordinary news," she said with genuine excitement that validated the significance of my achievement. Stanford's Merit Scholarship program is incredibly competitive, and receiving full funding represents recognition of exceptional academic excellence and research potential. Your parents must be thrilled beyond words. Her assumption about parental reaction created an opportunity to begin sharing my situation with a trusted adult who could provide guidance and support. "Actually, I have not yet informed my family about the Stanford acceptance," I replied, observing her surprise while preparing to explain the complex dynamics that had led to this decision. "There are some family circumstances that make the timing of this announcement particularly important, and I want to ensure that I handle the situation strategically." This explanation provided enough information to justify my secretiveness, while avoiding detailed discussion of family dysfunction that might require more time than our lunch period allowed. Mrs. Patterson's expression shifted from celebration to concern as she recognized that family circumstances were complicating what should have been a joyous milestone in my educational journey. "Isabella, if there are family challenges affecting your college planning, please know that our counseling services include resources for helping students navigate these situations," she said with the professional compassion that made her effective in supporting students through difficult transitions. The offer of counseling support represented exactly the kind of external assistance that would be essential for managing the emotional and practical challenges ahead. However, I recognized that my immediate priority involved securing additional financial resources rather than processing family relationship issues that would require longer-term attention. "I would very much appreciate information about scholarship opportunities that might supplement institutional aid," I said, redirecting the conversation toward practical assistance while acknowledging that family counseling might be valuable in the future. My goal is to minimize dependence on family financial support while maximizing my educational opportunities and research potential. Mrs. Patterson's professional experience with family financial challenges enabled her to understand the implications of my request without requiring detailed explanation of the specific circumstances that had created this need for independence. She immediately began discussing scholarship databases, application strategies, and timeline considerations that would help me secure additional funding for college expenses not covered by the Stanford package. The conversation with Mrs. Patterson provided both practical guidance and emotional validation that strengthened my confidence in pursuing educational independence. Her professional assessment of my scholarship prospects reinforced my belief that achieving financial self-sufficiency for college was realistic and achievable through systematic effort and strategic planning. Returning to classes after lunch, I found that sharing the Stanford acceptance with a supportive adult had reduced the emotional burden of maintaining this secret while navigating family dynamics. The knowledge that I had begun building external support networks provided reassurance that I would not be entirely alone in managing the challenges ahead. The afternoon classes proceeded with renewed focus as I channeled my energy toward maintaining the academic excellence that had earned my Stanford admission, while mentally preparing for the strategic conversations that would be necessary to establish my independence. The physics and calculus assignments that had once felt challenging now seemed manageable compared to the complex family negotiations that awaited me at home. Walking home from school, I used the quiet time to refine my approach for the conversation I intended to have with my parents that evening. The strategic timing of this discussion would be crucial for achieving optimal outcomes while minimizing family conflict and emotional turbulence. I decided to wait until after dinner when the family atmosphere was typically more relaxed and both parents would be available for focused conversation. The dinner preparation period provided an opportunity to observe family dynamics from my new perspective as someone planning to establish independence rather than seeking approval and support. My mother's automatic attention to Marcus's preferences while largely ignoring my presence illustrated the unconscious favoritism that had shaped our family culture throughout my childhood. These observations reinforced my determination to create distance from family attitudes that limited my potential and autonomy. Marcus's casual discussion of his plans for the weekend highlighted his unconscious acceptance of family support and attention that he had never needed to earn through exceptional performance or strategic planning. His comfortable assumption that resources and opportunities would be provided without effort contrasted sharply with my new understanding that independence required deliberate action and self-advocacy. The evening conversation I had planned would establish new boundaries in these family relationships, while positioning myself for the educational and professional success that my academic achievements had made possible. The Stanford acceptance letter in my backpack represented not just admission to a prestigious university, but the key to a future that I would create through my own determination and strategic planning. After dinner, as my family settled into their typical evening routines, I requested a meeting with both parents to discuss important matters related to my educational planning. This formal approach differed from our usual casual family conversations and immediately signaled that the discussion would address significant, rather than routine, concerns. Mom and Dad, I need to share some important information about my college applications and discuss how we will proceed with my educational planning. I began with the direct communication style that I had decided would be most effective for this conversation. The decisions we make now will affect my academic future and our family relationships for years to come. My parents exchanged glances that suggested mild concern about the serious tone I had adopted, though their expressions indicated curiosity rather than apprehension about what I might reveal. They settled into their living room chairs with the attention they typically provided when family matters required formal discussion and decision-making. "Of course, sweetheart," my mother replied with the supportive tone she used when she believed she was being an engaged parent. "We want to help you plan for your future, though as we discussed yesterday, our financial resources are primarily allocated to Marcus's education. We hope you understand that this decision reflects practical considerations rather than any lack of confidence in your abilities." The phrase "practical considerations" revealed how my parents had rationalized their gender-based resource allocation as logical financial planning rather than cultural bias. This framing suggested that they genuinely believed their decision represented responsible family management rather than discrimination against their daughter's educational opportunities. "I appreciate your honesty about family financial priorities," I replied, maintaining calm professionalism while preparing to reveal information that would challenge their assumptions about both my capabilities and their decision-making process. Before we discuss my educational financing, I want to share some news that may affect how we approach these family resource allocation decisions. I retrieved the Stanford acceptance letter from my backpack and placed it on the coffee table, between us with the deliberate ceremony that this moment deserved. The envelope remained sealed as I had originally received it, preserving the authenticity of this revelation while building anticipation for the information that would transform their understanding of my academic achievements and future potential. 3 weeks ago, I received this acceptance letter from Stanford University, I announced, observing their reactions while preparing to reveal the scholarship information that would demonstrate my independence and capability. The letter contains not only admission to one of the world's most prestigious universities, but also details about financial support that will enable me to pursue my education without requiring family assistance. My parents' expressions shifted from mild curiosity to genuine shock as they processed the significance of what I had just revealed. Stanford's reputation was sufficiently prominent that even they understood the extraordinary nature of admission to such a competitive institution. However, their surprise also included confusion about why I had not shared this information immediately upon receiving it. "Isabella, this is incredible news," my father said, with the enthusiasm I had originally expected when planning to share this achievement. Stanford University represents the highest level of academic excellence, and your admission reflects years of dedicated effort and exceptional ability. Why did you not tell us about this acceptance immediately? The question provided an opportunity to begin explaining the complex emotions and strategic considerations that had led me to maintain secrecy about my greatest academic achievement. My response would establish the foundation for the broader conversation about family dynamics and independence that would reshape our relationships going forward. I wanted to understand the complete financial package before discussing my options with the family, I replied, maintaining focus on practical considerations while avoiding immediate discussion of the emotional hurt caused by their college fund decision. The acceptance letter includes detailed information about scholarship opportunities that will significantly affect my educational financing and future planning. I carefully opened the envelope and removed the letter with the deliberate pace that would maximize the impact of the scholarship revelation. The document represented not just personal achievement, but proof of my value and potential that contradicted my parents' assumptions about gender-based educational priorities. Stanford has offered me a full academic scholarship that covers tuition, room and board, and includes a research stipend for all 4 years of undergraduate study, I announced, watching as my parents processed the financial implications of this information. The total value of this scholarship package exceeds $270,000, representing recognition of academic excellence and research potential that will enable me to pursue my education independently. The silence that followed. This revelation lasted several seconds as my parents absorbed both the magnitude of my achievement and the implications for their recent decisions about family resource allocation. The scholarship amount significantly exceeded the college fund they had transferred to Marcus, while the prestigious source made it impossible to dismiss or minimize the significance of what I had accomplished. My mother was the first to respond, her voice carrying a mixture of pride and confusion that reflected her struggle to reconcile this extraordinary achievement with her assumptions about my educational prospects. "Isabella, this is beyond anything we could have imagined for your future," she said with genuine emotion that suggested recognition of how completely they had underestimated my potential. Stanford's scholarship program represents validation of exceptional academic ability and promising research potential that will open doors throughout your career. The acknowledgement of my capabilities and potential provided some satisfaction, though it also highlighted how thoroughly my parents had failed to recognize these qualities before external validation forced them to confront their misconceptions. Their surprise at my achievement revealed the depth of their limited expectations for my academic future. My father's response reflected his tendency to focus on practical implications of new information rather than emotional processing of family Relationship dynamics. This scholarship opportunity changes everything about your educational financing and career prospects, he said with the analytical approach he applied to significant family decisions. With this level of financial support, you will have access to educational opportunities that exceed what we could have provided through our family savings. The practical assessment was accurate, but missed the deeper implications of how their initial decision had affected family trust and my perception of their support for my educational aspirations. However, I recognized that addressing these relationship issues would require separate conversations focused on emotional rather than financial considerations. The scholarship does indeed provide financial independence for my undergraduate education, I confirmed, maintaining focus on practical outcomes while preparing to establish new boundaries for family involvement in my future planning. However, this situation has also highlighted some important considerations about family dynamics and decision-making processes that will affect how we interact going forward. This statement signaled my intention to address broader issues beyond immediate college financing while maintaining the respectful tone that would be necessary for productive family relationship negotiations. The Stanford Scholarship provided me with leverage for these discussions while demonstrating my capability for independent achievement and planning. The conversation that followed would establish the foundation for my transition from dependent daughter to independent young adult, while preserving family relationships that remained important despite recent disappointments and revelations. The revelation of my Stanford scholarship had fundamentally altered the dynamics of our family conversation, shifting the focus from my perceived limitations to their demonstrated misjudgment of my capabilities and potential. My parents sat in contemplative silence as they processed the implications of what I had shared, their expressions reflecting the complex mixture of pride, embarrassment, and confusion that accompanied their recognition of how thoroughly they had underestimated their daughter's academic achievements. The strategic timing of this revelation had achieved its intended effect of establishing my credibility and independence, while positioning me for the boundary-setting conversation that would define our future family relationships. The scholarship represented irrefutable evidence that I possessed both the capability and resources necessary for educational success without requiring their financial support or approval of my academic choices. Isabella, we need to acknowledge that we have made serious errors in our assessment of your capabilities and educational prospects, my father said with the formal tone he employed when recognizing significant mistakes in his professional or personal decision-making. The Stanford Scholarship represents achievement that exceeds our understanding of what you had accomplished through your academic efforts. This admission provided partial validation of my frustration with their gender-based assumptions, though it avoided addressing the deeper cultural attitudes that had shaped their decision to prioritize Marcus's education over mine. The acknowledgement of error focused on their failure to recognize my achievements, rather than examining the prejudicial thinking that had led to their resource allocation decisions. I appreciate your recognition of my academic accomplishments, I replied with measured professionalism that maintained respectful engagement while preparing to address the broader issues that required discussion. However, this situation has revealed fundamental differences in how we evaluate educational value and family priorities that extend beyond simple miscommunication about my college applications. My mother's response reflected her tendency to focus on emotional repair rather than systematic analysis of the underlying problems that had created family conflict. We want you to know that we are incredibly proud of your achievement and grateful for your understanding about our confusion regarding your college plans, she said with the conciliatory tone she used when attempting to restore family harmony without addressing substantive disagreements. The emphasis on my understanding rather than their responsibility for creating this situation illustrated the defensive positioning that would make productive boundary-setting conversations particularly challenging. Their desire to minimize the significance of their decisions while expecting my forgiveness for their misconceptions revealed limited comprehension of how their attitudes had affected my trust and respect for their judgment. The college fund decision reflects cultural assumptions about gender roles and educational priorities that cannot be resolved through simple apologies or revised assessments of my capabilities. I continued with the direct communication approach. That would be necessary for establishing clear expectations about our future interactions. This situation has demonstrated the need for explicit boundaries regarding family involvement in my educational and career planning. The term boundaries immediately captured their attention because it signaled my intention to limit their influence over my future decisions rather than simply seeking acknowledgement of past mistakes. Their expressions shifted from apologetic confusion to concerned attention as they recognized that this conversation would involve restructuring family relationships rather than restoring previous dynamics. "What specific boundaries are you considering?" my father asked with the cautious tone of someone who understood that the answer would significantly affect family functioning and his parental authority. "We recognize that you have demonstrated independence and capability that we had not fully appreciated, but we hope that these changes will not prevent us from maintaining supportive family relationships." The question provided an opportunity to outline the framework for family interaction that would protect my autonomy while preserving relationships that remained valuable despite recent disappointments. The boundaries I intended to establish would create space for my independent development while maintaining connection with family members who demonstrated genuine support for my success. Going forward, I will make my own decisions regarding educational planning, career development, and financial management without seeking family approval or requiring parental consent, I began, establishing the foundational principle that would govern my approach to major life decisions. This independence extends to college selection, academic program choices, research opportunities, and post-graduation planning that align with my interests and capabilities. My parents exchanged glances that revealed their discomfort with the prospect of reduced involvement in decisions they had previously controlled through financial leverage and parental authority. The explicit declaration of my independence challenged their traditional understanding of family hierarchies and parental roles in guiding adult children's major life choices. "We understand your desire for increased autonomy," my mother responded with careful language that avoided direct opposition while expressing concern about the implications of complete independence. "However, we hope that you will continue to value our input and experience when making important decisions that could affect your future security and happiness." The request for continued input revealed their difficulty in transitioning from controlling authority to advisory roles that required earning influence through demonstrated wisdom and support, rather than exercising it through financial control. Their assumption that I would naturally value their advice despite recent evidence of poor judgment reflected limited understanding of how trust operates in adult relationships. "I will welcome advice and perspective from family members who demonstrate genuine support for my educational and career objectives," I replied, establishing the conditional nature of their advisory role while creating opportunities for rebuilding trust through supportive behavior. "However, this input will be requested rather than assumed, and final decisions will remain mine to make based on my assessment of available information and opportunities." The distinction between requested and assumed input represented a fundamental shift in family power dynamics that would require adjustment from parents accustomed to providing unsolicited guidance and expecting their advice to influence major decisions. Their adaptation to advisory rather than authoritative roles would determine the quality of our future relationships. Additionally, I will manage my own financial affairs, including scholarship funds, part-time employment, and any additional resources I secure through my own efforts, I continued, establishing economic independence that would prevent future attempts to influence my decisions through financial pressure. The Stanford Scholarship provides sufficient support for my undergraduate education, and I will develop additional income sources as needed for personal expenses and future planning. The Financial Independence Declaration addressed the core mechanism my parents had used to maintain control over their children's major decisions, while demonstrating my capability for economic self-sufficiency that exceeded their previous expectations. This independence would also prevent future situations where family financial support created obligations or expectations that conflicted with my personal objectives. My father's response reflected his practical concern about the challenges of complete financial independence for college students, even those with substantial scholarship support. While we respect your desire for financial autonomy, we want to ensure that you understand the complexities of managing all expenses without family assistance, he said with genuine worry that suggested protective, rather than controlling motivations. University life includes unexpected costs and financial challenges that even well-prepared students sometimes struggle to manage independently, he continued, demonstrating knowledge about college expenses that had informed his original concern about educational financing. We would prefer to remain available as financial backup support even if you choose to manage your primary expenses independently. The offer of backup financial support represented a reasonable compromise that acknowledged my independence while providing security for unexpected circumstances that could affect my educational success. However, accepting this offer would require establishing clear conditions that prevented financial assistance from becoming leverage for influencing my decisions, or requiring consultation about my choices. I appreciate the offer of emergency financial support and recognize that unexpected circumstances could affect any student's financial stability, I replied, acknowledging the practical value of family backup resources while maintaining my autonomy. However, any such assistance would need to be provided without conditions regarding my educational choices or expectations about future decision-making consultation. The conditional acceptance of emergency support provided reasonable protection against unforeseen financial crises while preserving my independence and preventing my parents from using occasional assistance to justify ongoing involvement in my personal decisions. This arrangement would test their ability to provide support without expecting control in return. Marcus had remained notably absent from this family conversation, despite its significant implications for family dynamics and resource allocation that affected his own educational planning. His lack of participation reflected both his limited awareness of the tensions that had prompted this discussion and his comfortable assumption that family conflicts would be resolved without requiring his input or adjustment. I think we should include Marcus in these discussions since the family resource allocation affects his educational planning as well, I suggested, recognizing that his perspective might provide valuable insights while ensuring that he understood how family dynamics were changing. These boundary-setting conversations will affect how we all interact going forward. My parents agreed to include Marcus in the expanded family discussion, though their reluctance suggested concern about how he might react to learning about the cultural attitudes that had shaped their differential treatment of their children. His response to these revelations would provide important information about his own values and potential support for more equitable family relationships. When Marcus joined our conversation later that evening, his initial reaction to learning about the Stanford scholarship mirrored the surprised enthusiasm he had expressed when I first mentioned my acceptance. However, his response to understanding the broader context of family gender bias and resource allocation revealed more complex emotions about his role in perpetuating these dynamics. I had no idea that you were dealing with this kind of unfair treatment, he said with genuine concern that suggested his natural sense of justice had been activated by understanding the full situation. The college fund transfer was never something I requested, and I feel uncomfortable knowing that it came at your expense when you clearly deserved family support for your achievements. His acknowledgement of the inequity and expression of discomfort with benefiting from discriminatory treatment provided hope that our sibling relationship could remain strong despite the challenges created by our parents' differential treatment. His willingness to recognize unfairness rather than defending his preferential status demonstrated maturity and moral awareness that exceeded my expectations. I also want you to know that I have been thinking about whether college is really the right path for me, Marcus continued, revealing information that added another layer of complexity to the family educational planning discussions. I am much more interested in automotive technology and mechanical work than business administration, and I think technical certification programs might be a better fit for my interests and abilities. This revelation provided unexpected validation of my earlier assessment that our parents had misunderstood both their children's capabilities and aspirations. Marcus's genuine interest in technical trades rather than traditional college education suggested that forcing him toward business administration would be as misguided as limiting my educational opportunities based on gender assumptions. The conversation that followed included productive discussion about how family resources could be better aligned with both children's authentic interests and demonstrated capabilities. Marcus's preference for technical education would require significantly less financial investment than traditional college programs, potentially freeing resources that could support my graduate education or research opportunities that extended beyond the Stanford scholarship coverage. If Marcus pursues technical certification rather than four-year college education, this would change the financial calculations that influenced our original resource allocation decisions, my father acknowledged with the analytical approach he used when recognizing new information that affected family planning. This development suggests that we should reconsider how educational investments can best support both children's career development. The willingness to reconsider resource allocation based on updated understanding of both children's preferences represented progress toward more equitable and rational family decision-making. However, I recognized that accepting revised financial support would require careful boundary setting to prevent future attempts to influence my choices through economic leverage. I appreciate the family's willingness to reconsider resource allocation based on our actual interests and capabilities, I replied, maintaining focus on principles rather than specific financial arrangements. However, any family financial support must be provided without expectations about consultation on my educational choices or post-graduation planning. The boundary-setting conversation continued through multiple sessions over the following weeks, as we negotiated new frameworks for family interaction that balanced independence with continued relationship maintenance. These discussions required patience and persistent communication as my parents adjusted to advisory, rather than authoritative roles in my life planning. The process of establishing boundaries also provided opportunities for my parents to demonstrate their capacity for growth and adaptation in response to recognition of their previous mistakes. Their willingness to modify long-held cultural attitudes and family practices would determine whether our relationships could evolve to accommodate my independence while preserving emotional connections that remained valuable. Throughout this boundary-setting process, I maintained focus on the empowering realization that I possessed both the capabilities and resources necessary for creating my own educational and professional success. The Stanford Scholarship represented external validation of achievements that had been earned through my own efforts rather than family connections or inherited advantages. The transformation from seeking family approval to establishing independence had required confronting uncomfortable truths about cultural limitations and family dysfunction while developing confidence in my own judgment and decision-making capabilities. This growth process was challenging, but ultimately liberating as it freed me from constraints that had limited my potential and aspirations. The boundary-setting conversations marked a crucial milestone in my development from dependent daughter to autonomous young adult capable of navigating complex educational and professional environments. The skills developed through these family negotiations would serve me well in future challenges that required self-advocacy and strategic relationship management. Looking ahead to my Stanford education and beyond, I understood that the independence I was establishing through these family discussions would provide the foundation for achievements that exceeded anything my parents had originally envisioned for my future. The journey toward complete autonomy was just beginning, but the progress achieved through honest communication and clear boundary setting had already transformed my relationship with my own potential and possibilities. The weeks following our Family boundary setting conversations marked a crucial transition period during which I systematically developed external support networks that would be essential for my educational and professional success. The establishment of independence from family decision-making authority required creating alternative sources of guidance, advocacy, and opportunity that could provide the mentorship and connections typically facilitated through supportive family relationships. My strategic approach to alliance building recognized that sustainable independence required more than simply rejecting family involvement in my planning. True autonomy demanded developing competencies in relationship management, professional networking, and strategic partnership creation that would serve me throughout my academic and career development. The skills involved in building these alliances would prove as valuable as the specific support and opportunities they generated. The first priority involved expanding my relationship with Mrs. Patterson beyond simple scholarship guidance to comprehensive educational planning that addressed both immediate college preparation needs and longer-term career development objectives. Her professional experience with high-achieving students navigating complex family situations provided invaluable perspective on strategies that had proven effective for similar circumstances. During our expanded counseling sessions, Mrs. Patterson helped me develop a systematic approach to college preparation that addressed practical considerations often overlooked by students with strong family support systems. These preparations included understanding dormitory life dynamics, developing budgeting systems for managing scholarship funds, and creating academic planning frameworks that would maximize my research opportunities at Stanford. Isabella, your situation demonstrates remarkable maturity and strategic thinking that will serve you extraordinarily well in university environments, Mrs. Patterson observed during one of our planning sessions. However, the transition to complete independence requires developing support systems that can provide guidance and advocacy when you encounter challenges that exceed your current experience. Her assessment reinforced my understanding that building strategic alliances involved more than simply collecting contacts or networking opportunities. Effective relationship development required identifying individuals whose expertise, experience, and values aligned with my objectives while offering mutual value that would sustain these partnerships over extended periods. Mrs. Patterson introduced me to Dr. Sarah Williams, a Stanford alumna who had established a successful career in environmental engineering research after graduating from the same scholarship program I would be entering. Dr. Williams had maintained connections with Stanford faculty and could provide insights into research opportunities, academic planning strategies, and professional development approaches that would maximize my undergraduate experience. The initial conversation with Dr. Williams provided invaluable perspective on how to approach my Stanford education strategically, rather than simply focusing on academic performance metrics. Her experience demonstrated that the most successful scholarship recipients were those who understood how to leverage university resources for building research credentials, professional networks, and career positioning that extended far beyond classroom achievement. The Stanford Scholarship Program provides access to extraordinary opportunities, but maximizing these benefits requires systematic planning and proactive engagement with faculty, research programs, and professional development resources, Dr. I. Williams explained during our first meeting. The students who achieve the greatest long-term success are those who approach their education as career preparation rather than simply academic achievement. Her guidance helped me understand that my Stanford experience should be designed to build capabilities and credentials that would position me for graduate school admission, research opportunities, and professional advancement that aligned with my interests in environmental engineering and sustainability research. This strategic perspective transformed my approach to college planning from reactive course selection to proactive career development. Dr. Williams also connected me with current Stanford students from similar scholarship backgrounds who could provide practical guidance about navigating university systems, identifying research opportunities, and building relationships with faculty members whose work aligned with my research interests. These peer connections would prove essential for accelerating my integration into Stanford's academic community. The relationship-building process extended beyond educational planning to include professional mentorship that addressed broader career development considerations. Through Mrs. Patterson's network, I was introduced to Maria Rodriguez, a senior engineer at a prominent environmental consulting firm who had built her career through strategic relationship development and continuous skill advancement. Maria's mentorship focused on understanding how academic achievements translated into professional opportunities and career advancement within engineering fields. Her guidance addressed practical considerations, including internship selection, professional association participation, and networking strategies that would build industry connections throughout my undergraduate studies. Engineering careers are built through a combination of technical competence and professional relationship management, Maria explained during our initial mentoring session. The most successful engineers are those who understand how to communicate their technical expertise effectively while building collaborative relationships with colleagues, clients, and industry leaders. Her perspective reinforced lessons I had learned through my family situation about the importance of strategic communication and relationship management for achieving professional objectives. The skills I had developed in managing family dynamics and establishing independence would prove directly applicable to navigating workplace environments and advancing my engineering career. Maria also provided guidance about financial planning and career progression that addressed considerations beyond immediate college expenses. Her mentorship included developing understanding of salary negotiation, benefits evaluation, and long-term financial planning that would enable me to maintain independence and build wealth throughout my professional career. The alliance-building process also included developing relationships with other high-achieving students who shared similar academic interests and career objectives. Through academic competitions, volunteer activities, and extracurricular programs, I connected with peers who possessed complementary skills and experiences that could support mutual educational and professional development. These peer relationships provided opportunities for collaborative learning, project partnership, and mutual support that enhanced our individual capabilities while building networks that would persist throughout our educational and professional careers. The ability to identify and cultivate these collaborative relationships represented another essential skill for long-term success. Jennifer Kim, a fellow National Honor Society member with interests in sustainable technology development, became a particularly valuable alliance partner. Her expertise in computer programming and data analysis complemented my strengths in environmental science and system design, creating opportunities for collaborative projects that enhanced both our academic portfolios and research experience. Our partnership began with a joint project for the regional science fair that combined environmental monitoring with data analysis technologies to create innovative solutions for water quality assessment. The project's success led to recognition from environmental organizations and provided both of us with research experience that would strengthen our college applications and scholarship portfolios. Collaboration with peers who possess complementary skills creates opportunities for achievements that exceed what either individual could accomplish independently, Jennifer observed during one of our project planning sessions. These partnerships also provide valuable experience in project management, communication, and teamwork that will be essential for professional success. Her insight reinforced my understanding that strategic alliance building involved identifying opportunities for mutual value creation rather than simply seeking support for my individual objectives. The most sustainable relationships were those that provided benefits for all participants while advancing shared goals and interests. The alliance-building process also required developing competencies in relationship maintenance and communication that would sustain these partnerships through changing circumstances and evolving priorities. Regular communication, mutual support during challenging periods, and celebration of shared successes became essential practices for maintaining these valuable relationships. Through my expanding network of mentors, peers, and supporters, I gained access to opportunities and resources that significantly enhanced my educational prospects and career preparation. These relationships provided scholarship information, research opportunities, internship connections, and professional development resources that would have been difficult to identify and access independently. More importantly, the process of building these alliances developed my capabilities in strategic communication, relationship management, and mutual value creation that would serve me throughout my academic and professional career. The confidence gained through successfully developing these relationships reinforced my belief in my ability to navigate complex environments and achieve ambitious objectives through systematic planning and persistent effort. The contrast between the supportive engagement of my external alliance network and the conditional support offered by my family highlighted the difference between relationships based on mutual respect and shared objectives versus those constrained by cultural limitations and traditional authority structures. This comparison reinforced my commitment to independence while demonstrating the value of carefully chosen partnerships. Dr. Williams arranged for me to participate in a summer research program at Stanford that would provide early exposure to university research environments and faculty mentorship before my official enrollment. This opportunity represented exactly the kind of advanced preparation that would enable me to maximize my scholarship benefits while building credentials for graduate school and professional opportunities. The summer research program also provided practical experience in university housing, academic planning, and campus resource utilization that would facilitate my transition to full-time student status. This preparation addressed many of the concerns my parents had expressed about my readiness for complete independence while demonstrating my capability for thriving in challenging academic environments. Maria's mentorship included connecting me with internship opportunities at engineering firms that provided practical work experience and professional networking that complemented my academic preparation. These internships would provide income that supplemented my scholarship support, while building industry connections and practical skills that would enhance my career prospects. The systematic development of these strategic alliances created a comprehensive support network that addressed every aspect of my educational and professional development, while maintaining my independence and autonomy. These relationships provided guidance, advocacy, and opportunity without requiring the submission to traditional authority structures that had limited my potential within family dynamics. The success of my alliance-building efforts also provided evidence to my family that my independence was not merely adolescent rebellion, but a strategic approach to maximizing my potential and opportunities. The quality of the mentorship and support I had secured through my own efforts demonstrated my capability for making sound decisions about relationships and resource allocation. As my high school graduation approached, the foundation of strategic alliances I had developed provided confidence that my transition to Stanford and beyond would be supported by individuals who recognized and valued my potential, while respecting my autonomy and decision-making authority. These relationships would continue evolving throughout my educational journey, while providing the stability and guidance necessary for achieving my most ambitious objectives. The transformation from family-dependent daughter to strategically networked independent young adult represented a fundamental shift in how I approached relationships and opportunity creation. The skills developed through this alliance-building process would prove essential for navigating the complex professional environments I would encounter throughout my engineering career, while maintaining the independence and self-determination that had become central to my identity and aspirations. The spring months leading to graduation presented an optimal opportunity to demonstrate the effectiveness of my independent strategy while positioning myself for the most advantageous transition to Stanford University. The comprehensive support network I had developed provided both practical resources and strategic guidance that enabled me to approach this crucial period with confidence and systematic planning rather than relying on traditional family-based preparation approaches. My academic performance during the final semester maintained the excellence that had characterized my entire high school career, with advanced placement examinations and senior project requirements providing additional opportunities to demonstrate. the research capabilities and analytical thinking that would be essential for success in Stanford's rigorous academic environment. These achievements served as concrete validation of my readiness for independent academic pursuit at the highest levels. The culmination of my high school research work involved presenting my water purification system project at the National Science and Engineering Fair, an opportunity that Dr. Williams had identified as particularly valuable for building credentials that would enhance my positioning within Stanford's research community. The project had evolved significantly through iterative development and testing, incorporating feedback from environmental engineering professionals and addressing real-world implementation challenges that demonstrated practical problem-solving capabilities. The national competition provided exposure to research standards and presentation requirements that exceeded typical high school academic experiences, offering preparation for the university research environment that would define much of my Stanford education. The networking opportunities at the competition also connected me with other high-achieving students, faculty members from various universities, and industry professionals who expanded my understanding of career pathways within environmental engineering. My project received recognition as a finalist in the environmental engineering category, an achievement that validated both my technical capabilities and my potential for contributing to meaningful research during my undergraduate studies. The recognition also provided additional scholarship opportunities and research program invitations that would supplement my Stanford package while building my academic reputation within the environmental engineering community. The success at the national competition created an opportunity to share positive news with my family in a context that demonstrated my capability for independent achievement and strategic planning. This sharing approach allowed me to maintain family relationships while reinforcing the boundaries I had established regarding their involvement in my educational decision-making processes. The National Science Fair recognition represents validation of research capabilities that will serve you exceptionally well at Stanford, my father acknowledged during our discussion of the competition results. His response reflected genuine pride in my achievement while demonstrating his growing understanding of my academic potential and independent capabilities. My mother's reaction included both celebration of my success and subtle attempts to reassert family involvement in my college preparation planning. "We are tremendously proud of your accomplishment and want to ensure that we provide appropriate support for your transition to university life," she said, with the tone that indicated desire to resume traditional parental guidance roles. The conversation provided an opportunity to reinforce the boundaries I had established while acknowledging their genuine desire to support my success. "I appreciate your pride in my achievement and your continued interest in my educational progress," I replied with respectful firmness that maintained our relationship while preserving my autonomy. The preparation systems I have developed through my alliance network are comprehensive and align with my strategic objectives for maximizing my Stanford experience. This response demonstrated that my independence was not rejection of family, connection, but rather a systematic approach to achieving objectives that required specialized guidance and resources beyond what traditional family support could provide. The distinction between emotional support and practical guidance helped my parents understand their continued value in my life, while accepting their reduced role in decision-making processes. Marcus's perspective on my achievement provided particularly valuable validation because his support was uncomplicated by cultural assumptions or authority concerns that influenced our parents' reactions. "Izzy, this national recognition is absolutely incredible and proves that you have been operating at a completely different level than any of us realized," he said with genuine admiration that reflected his growing understanding of my capabilities. His enthusiastic support also included recognition of how my success validated the independent strategy I had pursued rather than seeking family approval for my educational planning. "You were right to take control of your own planning because you clearly understand your capabilities and opportunities better than anyone else in the family," he continued, providing explicit validation of my boundary-setting decisions. The Timing of the National Science Fair success coincided with college decision deadlines for most of my classmates, creating natural opportunities to share my Stanford plans within my peer community while demonstrating the strategic advantages of my independence approach. Many of my academically successful friends were navigating complex family negotiations about college selection, financial contributions, and post-graduation expectations that illustrated the benefits of my autonomous decision-making process. Sarah Martinez, my longtime friend and academic competitor, was experiencing significant family conflict about her choice between a prestigious but expensive private university and a less costly state school option that her parents preferred, for financial reasons. Her family's approach contrasted sharply with my situation, where my independence enabled me to pursue the optimal educational opportunity without requiring family financial compromise or approval. Isabella, I envy your freedom to make college decisions based purely on academic fit and career potential, Sarah observed during one of our discussions about university planning. My family's financial concerns are completely understandable, but the negotiation process is exhausting and limits my ability to focus on preparing for whichever program I ultimately attend. Her perspective highlighted how traditional family-dependent college planning could create emotional stress and suboptimal decision-making even when parents possessed good intentions and adequate resources. The independence I had achieved through strategic planning and alliance building provided clarity and focus that enhanced both my decision-making process and my preparation for university success. Jennifer Kim's family situation presented different challenges related to cultural expectations about career selection and academic focus that resonated with aspects of my own experience with gender-based assumptions. Her parents supported her educational aspirations, but expressed strong preferences for traditional engineering fields rather than her interest in sustainable technology development and environmental applications. My parents view environmental engineering as less practical than mechanical or electrical engineering because they believe traditional fields offer more stable career prospects, Jennifer explained during one of our project planning sessions. They support my academic achievement, but want to influence my specialization decisions based on their assessment of market opportunities. Her experience reinforced my understanding that family involvement in educational planning often reflected parents' assumptions and limitations rather than students' actual capabilities and interests. The independence I had established protected me from similar conflicts while enabling me to pursue research directions that aligned with my genuine interests and demonstrated aptitudes. The contrast between my autonomous college planning and my friends' family-dependent processes provided additional validation of the strategic value of the boundaries I had established. While my approach had required significant emotional work and relationship management, it had ultimately created optimal conditions for educational success and personal development. The spring period also provided opportunities to deepen my alliance relationships through collaborative projects and expanded mentorship engagement that prepared me for university-level research and professional development. Dr. Williams arranged for me to participate in virtual seminars with Stanford faculty members whose research aligned with my interests, providing early exposure to academic standards and research methodologies that would be essential for my undergraduate success. These faculty interactions demonstrated the sophisticated analytical thinking and communication capabilities that would be required for meaningful participation in university research programs. The preparation provided through these early exposures would enable me to engage more effectively with research opportunities from the beginning of my Stanford experience, rather than requiring extended adjustment periods. Maria Rodriguez's mentorship evolved to include practical professional development activities, including mock interviews, networking strategy development, and industry research that would support my internship applications and career planning. Throughout my undergraduate studies, her guidance addressed specific challenges that engineering students often encountered when transitioning from academic achievement to professional application of their knowledge and skills. Engineering careers require continuous learning and adaptation as technology and industry requirements evolve. Maria explained during one of our professional development sessions. The most successful engineers are those who understand how to identify emerging opportunities while building capabilities that remain valuable across changing technological landscapes. Her perspective reinforced the importance of developing strategic thinking and adaptability skills that extended beyond technical competence to include market awareness and professional positioning capabilities. These competencies would prove essential for navigating the rapidly evolving environmental engineering field and building a career that could adapt to changing technological and regulatory environments. The internship opportunities that Maria facilitated provided practical experience in professional engineering environments while generating income that supplemented my scholarship support and demonstrated my capability for financial self-sufficiency. The work experience also provided insights into industry culture and professional expectations that would inform my academic focus and career preparation strategies. The summer research program arranged by Dr. Williams commenced in June, providing intensive preparation for my transition to full-time Stanford enrollment while building research credentials and faculty relationships that would enhance my undergraduate experience. The program participants included other incoming scholarship recipients whose backgrounds and achievements provided peer learning opportunities and collaborative relationships that would continue throughout our university experience. The research program focused on water quality monitoring technologies with applications to environmental conservation and public health protection, aligning perfectly with my interests and previous project experience while providing exposure to advanced analytical techniques and research methodologies. The work involved both laboratory research and field studies that provided comprehensive understanding of environmental engineering practice and research applications. Working alongside graduate students and faculty members provided realistic exposure to university research culture and academic expectations that would be essential for my success as an undergraduate researcher. The experience demonstrated that my preparation and capabilities aligned well with Stanford's academic standards, while identifying specific areas where additional development would enhance my research effectiveness. The program also included professional development workshops addressing research methodology, scientific communication, and academic career planning that provided systematic preparation for university-level academic work. These workshops complemented the technical research experience while building capabilities in project management, collaborative problem-solving, and strategic academic planning that would serve me throughout my undergraduate and graduate studies. The summer experience provided compelling evidence that my independent strategy had created optimal conditions for educational and professional success. The preparation I had achieved through systematic alliance building and strategic planning exceeded what traditional family-supported approaches typically provided, while maintaining my autonomy and self-determination. As the summer program concluded and my official Stanford enrollment approached, I possessed comprehensive preparation, strong support networks, and demonstrated capabilities that positioned me for exceptional success in my undergraduate studies. The transformation from family-dependent daughter to strategically independent young woman had created foundations for achievements that would exceed even my most ambitious original aspirations. The journey toward complete independence had required confronting significant challenges and developing new capabilities in relationship management, strategic planning, and professional development. However, the results demonstrated that systematic pursuit of autonomy could create opportunities and support systems that exceeded traditional family-dependent approaches while preserving valuable relationships and emotional connections. Looking ahead to my Stanford experience and beyond, I understood that the independence I had achieved represented not an end goal, but rather the foundation for continued growth and achievement throughout my educational and professional career. The skills and relationships I had developed would continue evolving while providing the stability and guidance necessary for pursuing my most ambitious objectives in environmental engineering research and professional practice. The transition to Stanford University represented the practical implementation of all the strategic planning and alliance building that had defined my final months of high school. Moving across multiple states to begin my independent university education required executing comprehensive logistical preparations while maintaining the support networks that would be essential for my academic and professional success throughout my undergraduate studies. The physical relocation process provided concrete demonstration of my independence capabilities as I managed dormitory arrangements, academic registration, financial planning, and social integration without relying on traditional family support systems. These practical challenges required applying the organizational skills and strategic thinking that had characterized my approach to college preparation, while adapting to the complex requirements of university life. My dormitory assignment placed me in a residential program specifically designed for scholarship recipients and academically advanced students, creating immediate access to peer communities that shared similar educational backgrounds and achievement orientations. This environment provided natural opportunities for developing study groups, research collaborations, and social relationships that would enhance both my academic performance and personal development throughout my university experience. My roommate, Patricia Hernandez, was a scholarship recipient from Phoenix whose family background included similar challenges with traditional cultural expectations about women's educational roles. Her parents had initially expressed reservations about her pursuit of computer science education, preferring more traditional career paths that aligned with their cultural assumptions about appropriate professional roles for daughters. My family eventually came to support my educational goals, but the process required significant negotiation and boundary setting that sounds similar to your experience, Patricia explained during our initial conversations about family dynamics and independence strategies. The scholarship program provided validation that helped them understand my capabilities and potential for success in technology fields. Her perspective provided valuable confirmation that my approach to family relationship management had been both necessary and effective for achieving educational independence. The comparison of our experiences also highlighted how cultural attitudes about gender roles affected many high-achieving women, despite their demonstrated capabilities and academic achievements. The academic rigor at Stanford exceeded my expectations. Despite the comprehensive preparation I had received through the summer research program and Alliance mentorship, the course load required developing new study methodologies and time management approaches that could accommodate both classroom requirements and research participation while maintaining the extracurricular involvement that would enhance my professional development. My first semester courses included advanced calculus, chemistry, physics, and environmental engineering fundamentals that provided the foundation for my intended specialization in sustainable technology development. The academic standards demanded precision and analytical depth that required adapting my study approaches to university-level expectations, while building relationships with faculty members whose research aligned with my career objectives. Professor Margaret Thompson, who taught my Environmental Engineering Fundamentals course, became an important faculty mentor whose research in water quality monitoring aligned directly with my previous project experience and future research interests. Her willingness to discuss research opportunities and academic planning provided the kind of strategic guidance that would be essential for maximizing my undergraduate research experience. Isabella, your previous research experience and analytical approach suggests strong potential for meaningful undergraduate research participation, Professor Thompson observed during one of our office hour discussions. However, maximizing these opportunities requires systematic planning and strategic selection of research projects that build toward your graduate school and career objectives. Her guidance helped me understand that undergraduate research participation should be approached as career development rather than simply academic requirement fulfillment. This perspective aligned with the strategic thinking that had characterized my approach to college preparation while providing specific frameworks for academic planning that would enhance my long-term prospects. The research opportunities available through Stanford's environmental engineering program exceeded anything I had anticipated when selecting my university options. Multiple faculty members were conducting studies that addressed critical environmental challenges while providing undergraduate students with meaningful research responsibilities and publication opportunities that would strengthen graduate school applications and professional credentials. Dr. James Wilson's research group focused on innovative water purification technologies for addressing contamination in developing regions, offering opportunities to apply my previous project experience, while contributing to research with immediate humanitarian applications. The combination of technical challenge and social impact aligned perfectly with my interests, while providing exposure to international development considerations that would expand my understanding of engineering practice. Joining Dr. Wilson's research group required demonstrating competence through preliminary project work, while establishing productive working relationships with graduate students and other undergraduate researchers. The collaborative nature of university research demanded developing new interpersonal skills and project management capabilities that extended beyond individual academic achievement to include team contribution and collective problem solving. Undergraduate research participation provides valuable preparation for graduate studies and professional practice. But success requires understanding your role within larger research objectives, while contributing meaningfully to team achievements, explained Michael Chen, a graduate student who supervised much of the undergraduate research work in Dr. Wilson's laboratory. His mentorship provided practical guidance about research methodologies, laboratory procedures, and academic publication, processes that would be essential for my development as a researcher. The relationship also demonstrated how university environments could provide hierarchical mentorship structures that replace traditional family guidance while maintaining appropriate professional boundaries and mutual respect. The financial, management aspects of university life required implementing the budgeting systems and resource allocation strategies that I had developed during my college preparation planning. The Stanford Scholarship covered major expenses, but managing personal costs, research supplies, and social activities required careful planning and disciplined spending that demonstrated my capacity for economic independence. The part-time employment opportunities available through university work-study programs provided additional income while building professional experience and campus community connections. I secured a position as a laboratory assistant in the environmental engineering department, which provided both financial benefits and expanded exposure to research activities across multiple faculty groups. The work-study position also created opportunities for developing relationships with faculty members and graduate students whose research interests complemented my academic focus, while providing insights into graduate school planning and academic career development. These relationships supplemented the formal mentorship I received through my research participation, while expanding my understanding of academic culture and professional expectations. Social integration within the university community required balancing academic priorities with relationship building and extracurricular participation that would enhance my overall educational experience. The scholarship program provided access to social events and networking opportunities specifically designed for high-achieving students, creating natural venues for developing meaningful friendships and professional connections. Patricia and I established study partnerships with other scholarship recipients whose academic strengths complemented our own capabilities, while providing mutual support for managing university-level coursework and research responsibilities. These collaborative relationships demonstrated the value of peer learning and collective problem-solving that had characterized my most successful high school academic experiences. The Environmental Engineering Student Organization provided opportunities for professional development activities, including industry speakers, field trip experiences, and networking events that connected undergraduate students with practicing engineers and potential employers. My participation in organization leadership roles provided experience in project management and team coordination that would enhance my professional capabilities. Regular communication with my external alliance network remained essential for maintaining the support systems that had facilitated my successful transition to university life. Dr. Williams continued providing strategic guidance about academic planning and research opportunity evaluation, while Maria Rodriguez offered perspective on industry trends and professional development considerations that informed my academic focus and career preparation strategies. Your successful transition to Stanford demonstrates the effectiveness of the preparation and planning strategies we developed together, Dr. Williams observed during one of our regular check-in conversations. However, maximizing your undergraduate experience requires continued strategic thinking about research selection, internship planning, and graduate school preparation that builds systematically toward your career objectives. Her continued mentorship provided stability and guidance that helped me navigate the complex decisions and opportunities that characterized university life, while maintaining focus on long-term objectives rather than becoming overwhelmed by immediate academic and social pressures. The relationship with my family evolved during my first semester at Stanford as they observed my successful adaptation to university life and academic achievement that validated my independent strategies. Their growing recognition of my capabilities and maturity facilitated more respectful communication patterns while preserving the boundaries I had established regarding their involvement in my decision-making processes. My father's perspective on my university success reflected his analytical approach to evaluating outcomes and recognizing effective strategies. Isabella, your academic performance and research achievements at Stanford demonstrate that your independence, planning was both necessary and successful, he acknowledged during one of our regular phone conversations. We are learning to appreciate your decision-making capabilities while adjusting our own assumptions about parental roles in adult children's educational planning. This recognition provided satisfaction without requiring modification of the boundaries I had established regarding family involvement in my academic and career planning. The evolution of our relationship toward mutual respect and supportive communication demonstrated that independence and family connection could coexist when based on authentic appreciation, rather than traditional authority structures. Marcus's continued support for my educational success provided particularly meaningful validation because his perspective was uncomplicated by cultural assumptions or authority concerns that had influenced our parents' initial reactions to my independence. His enthusiasm about my Stanford achievements reflected genuine pride in my accomplishments, while demonstrating his understanding of how my success benefited the entire family's reputation and opportunities. Izzy, hearing about your research, work, and academic achievements makes me incredibly proud to be your brother, Marcus said during one of our conversations about university life. Your success also helps me understand that pursuing technical certification, rather than traditional college education, was the right decision for my own interests and capabilities. His perspective reinforced my understanding that my independence had created space for both of us to pursue educational paths that aligned with our authentic interests and demonstrated capabilities rather than conforming to traditional family expectations that might have limited our individual potential and satisfaction. The first semester academic results exceeded my expectations and validated the preparation strategies that had characterized my transition planning. My course grades reflected mastery of university-level material, while my research contributions demonstrated readiness for increasingly complex project responsibilities and potential publication opportunities that would enhance my academic credentials. Professor Thompson's evaluation of my academic performance provided specific feedback about areas for continued development, while recognizing achievements that positioned me favorably for advanced research opportunities and graduate school preparation. Isabella, your analytical capabilities and research approach suggest strong potential for graduate studies and academic research careers, she observed during our semester-end discussion. This feedback reinforced my confidence in pursuing advanced education and research careers while providing guidance about specific competencies that would enhance my preparation for graduate school applications and academic professional development. The validation from respected faculty members provided external confirmation of capabilities that I had developed through strategic planning and systematic effort. Looking ahead to my second semester and beyond, I recognize that the successful transition to Stanford represented achievement of immediate independence objectives while creating foundations for continued growth and development throughout my undergraduate studies. The skills and relationships I had developed would continue evolving while providing stability and guidance necessary for pursuing increasingly ambitious academic and professional objectives. The transformation from family-dependent daughter to successfully independent university student had required sustained effort and strategic planning that extended far beyond simple rebellion against traditional authority structures. The systematic approach to capability development and alliance building had created optimal conditions for educational success, while preserving valuable relationships and emotional connections that remained important despite changed dynamics. The Stanford experience would continue providing opportunities for growth and achievement that exceeded my original aspirations, while demonstrating that strategic independence could create pathways to success that surpassed traditional family-dependent approaches to educational and professional development. The second semester at Stanford marked a significant acceleration in my research involvement and academic development, as I demonstrated competence in foundational coursework, while expanding my contributions to Dr. Wilson's water purification research program. The combination of strong academic performance and meaningful research participation created opportunities for increased responsibility and recognition that exceeded typical undergraduate experiences. My role within the research group evolved, from basic laboratory assistance to independent project management, as I proved capable of designing experiments, analyzing complex datasets, and contributing original insights to ongoing research initiatives. This progression required developing advanced technical skills while demonstrating reliability and innovation that earned respect from both faculty supervisors and graduate student collaborators. The specific project assigned to my independent management involved developing cost-effective water testing protocols for remote communities in developing regions where traditional laboratory analysis was impractical or prohibitively expensive. The challenge required combining environmental engineering principles with practical considerations about resource limitations and technological accessibility that demanded creative problem-solving approaches. The project aligned perfectly with my interests in sustainable technology development while providing exposure to international development considerations that expanded my understanding of engineering applications beyond domestic environmental challenges. The work required extensive literature review, experimental design, and prototype development that demonstrated my capability for conducting comprehensive research projects. Dr. Wilson's supervision approach provided appropriate guidance while encouraging independent thinking and creative solution development that fostered my growth as a researcher. His feedback addressed both technical methodologies and strategic research planning that would be essential for my future graduate studies and professional development. Isabella, your approach to this water testing project demonstrates the kind of systematic thinking and practical application that characterizes successful engineering research, Dr. Wilson observed during one of our weekly progress meetings. The combination of technical rigor and implementation feasibility suggests strong potential for research that can address real-world environmental challenges. His assessment provided valuable validation of my research capabilities while highlighting specific strengths that would guide my continued academic development and career planning. The recognition also created opportunities for presenting my work at academic conferences and potentially contributing to published research that would enhance my credentials for graduate school applications. The experimental phase of the water testing project required developing proficiency with advanced analytical instruments and data analysis software that expanded my technical competencies beyond undergraduate coursework requirements. These skills would prove valuable for future research projects while demonstrating my ability to master complex technologies through systematic study and practice. Collaboration with graduate students in Dr. Wilson's research group provided exposure to advanced research methodologies and academic culture that accelerated my understanding of graduate school expectations and research career development. These relationships offered informal mentorship that complemented formal faculty supervision while providing peer learning opportunities. Sarah Kim, a doctoral student whose research focused on water contamination monitoring, became a particularly valuable mentor whose guidance addressed both technical research skills and academic career navigation strategies. Her experience provided insights into graduate school application processes, research proposal development, and academic publication requirements that would be essential for my future planning. Undergraduate research experience provides crucial preparation for graduate studies, but maximizing these benefits requires understanding how individual projects contribute to broader research objectives and career development goals. Sarah explained during one of our laboratory work sessions. The most successful undergraduate researchers are those who approach their projects strategically, while building relationships and credentials that support their future academic aspirations. Her perspective reinforced the importance of strategic thinking that had characterized my approach to college preparation, while providing specific guidance about academic career development that would inform my planning for graduate school and research careers. The data analysis component of my water testing project revealed patterns and insights that contributed meaningfully to the broader research program objectives while demonstrating my capability for independent scientific investigation. The results suggested potential applications for affordable water quality monitoring in multiple geographic contexts, creating opportunities for expanded research collaboration and publication. Professor Thompson, who continued serving as my academic advisor, recommended that I present my water testing research at the National Environmental Engineering Conference, an opportunity that would provide exposure to leading researchers in the field while building my professional reputation and academic credentials. Isabella, your research demonstrates the quality and innovation that merits presentation at national academic conferences, Professor Thompson observed during our discussion of conference presentation opportunities. This experience will provide valuable exposure to current research trends while building your professional network within the environmental engineering community. The conference presentation preparation required developing advanced communication skills for addressing technical audiences while presenting complex research findings in accessible and compelling formats. These presentation capabilities would prove essential for graduate school applications and future academic career success. The conference experience exceeded my expectations by providing access to cutting-edge research presentations, networking opportunities with leading faculty members from universities across the country, and exposure to industry applications of environmental engineering research. The environment offered unparalleled learning opportunities while demonstrating the breadth and impact potential of careers in environmental research. My presentation received positive feedback from conference attendees, including faculty members from prestigious graduate programs, who expressed interest in my research approach and future academic plans. These interactions provided valuable insights into graduate school opportunities while building relationships that could support my future applications and career development. Dr. Rebecca Martinez from the University of California, Berkeley approached me after my presentation to discuss potential graduate research opportunities in her laboratory, which focused on sustainable water treatment technologies for urban applications. Her interest in my undergraduate research experience and academic achievements provided early indication of competitive positioning for top-tier graduate programs. Your research approach and presentation demonstrate the analytical capabilities and communication skills that are essential for successful graduate studies in environmental engineering, Dr. Martinez explained during our conference conversation. I would encourage you to consider applying to our graduate program, where your research interests would align well with ongoing projects in sustainable urban infrastructure. This early graduate school interest provided confidence about my future academic prospects, while demonstrating that my strategic approach to undergraduate preparation was positioning me effectively for competitive graduate opportunities. The validation from respected researchers reinforced my commitment to pursuing advanced education and research careers. The conference networking also connected me with practicing engineers from environmental consulting firms and government agencies, who provided insights into professional career paths and industry applications of environmental engineering research. These relationships expanded my understanding of career options while building professional connections that could support internship opportunities and post-graduation employment. Returning to Stanford after the conference, I approached my continued research work with enhanced understanding of how my undergraduate projects contributed to broader research objectives and career preparation. The exposure to advanced research and professional applications provided motivation for pursuing increasingly challenging projects while maintaining focus on systematic skill development. The success of my water testing project created opportunities for expanded research responsibilities, including supervising newer undergraduate research participants and contributing to grant proposal development that would fund continued research. Program expansion. These leadership experiences provided valuable preparation for graduate school and academic career development while demonstrating my readiness for increased responsibilities. My academic performance during the second semester maintained the excellence that had characterized my first semester achievements while incorporating the enhanced research load and conference preparation requirements. The ability to balance multiple high-level commitments demonstrated time management and organizational capabilities that would be essential for graduate school success. The combination of strong coursework performance and meaningful research contributions attracted attention from additional faculty members whose research aligned with my interests in sustainable technology development. Professor David Lee, whose work focused on renewable energy integration with water treatment systems, invited me to participate in a summer research internship that would provide experience with interdisciplinary engineering applications. Isabella, your research experience and academic achievements suggest strong potential for contributing to interdisciplinary projects that address multiple sustainability challenges simultaneously, Professor Lee explained during our discussion of summer research opportunities. This internship would provide exposure to renewable energy technologies while building on your water treatment research experience. The internship opportunity represented exactly the kind of comprehensive preparation that would enhance my graduate school applications while providing practical experience with emerging technologies that would be crucial for my future research and professional development. The interdisciplinary focus aligned with my interests in systems-level approaches to environmental challenges. The financial benefits of the summer research internship would supplement my scholarship support while providing professional experience that enhanced my resume and academic credentials. The combination of meaningful research work and financial compensation demonstrated that academic excellence could create economic opportunities that supported continued independence and educational advancement. Communication with my external alliance network continued providing valuable guidance and support as I navigated increased research responsibilities and graduate school planning considerations. Dr. Williams offered perspective on graduate program evaluation, while Maria Rodriguez provided insights into industry trends that informed my academic focus and career preparation strategies. Your conference presentation and research achievements demonstrate exceptional progress in building the credentials and relationships that will support competitive graduate school applications, Dr. Williams observed during one of our regular conversations. However, maximizing these opportunities requires systematic planning for graduate school applications and continued relationship building within the academic community. Her guidance addressed specific strategies for graduate school application preparation, including research statement development, faculty relationship cultivation, and academic portfolio organization that would be essential for securing admission to top-tier programs with competitive funding packages. The relationship with my family continued evolving positively as they observed my research achievements and academic recognition that validated my independent strategies and demonstrated the effectiveness of my educational planning. Their growing appreciation for my capabilities facilitated more collaborative communication patterns while respecting the boundaries I had established. My mother's perspective on my academic achievements reflected her increasing understanding of my potential and capabilities that she had previously underestimated. Isabella, your research work and conference presentation exceed anything we imagined when you were in high school, she acknowledged during one of our phone conversations. We are learning to appreciate your academic abilities and strategic planning that have created these extraordinary opportunities. This recognition provided satisfaction while reinforcing my commitment to continued excellence and independence that had enabled these achievements. The evolution of family relationships toward mutual respect and appreciation demonstrated that strategic boundary setting could preserve valuable connections while protecting autonomy and decision-making authority. Marcus's enthusiasm about my academic success continued providing meaningful support while demonstrating his understanding of how my achievements reflected positively on our entire family. His progress in his technical certification program provided evidence that both of us had benefited from pursuing educational paths that aligned with our authentic interests and demonstrated capabilities. Izzy, hearing about your research work and conference presentation makes me incredibly proud while reinforcing that we both made the right decisions about our educational directions, Marcus said during one of our conversations about our respective academic progress. Your success demonstrates that independence and strategic planning can create opportunities that exceed traditional family expectations. His perspective validated my decision to pursue independence while highlighting how my success had created positive outcomes for our entire family. By demonstrating the value of supporting individual capabilities and interests rather than conforming to traditional cultural expectations. Looking ahead to my junior year and graduate school planning, I recognize that my research achievements and academic recognition had created optimal foundations for pursuing the most competitive graduate opportunities while maintaining the independence and strategic focus that had characterized my undergraduate success. The skills and relationships developed through systematic effort would continue providing advantages throughout my continued academic and professional development. The transformation from uncertain high school student to recognized undergraduate researcher had required sustained commitment to excellence and strategic planning that extended far beyond simple academic achievement to include relationship building, professional development, and systematic capability expansion that positioned me for continued success in increasingly challenging academic and professional environments. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.